at John Morant warming up in the FedEx Forum. Memphis Grizzlies looking to host the Houston Rockets. Ja last 2 home games, 27 points, 8 assists, 3 for 5 from behind the arc. Our panelist choice of Rookie of the Year. Welcome back to the warm-up. Glad you guys are here with us. We're joined by a very special guest, Jon Krawczynski. Thank you, John. Since you're there, and we want to talk about Minnesota, obviously, are they the real deal?
Well, I think we're going to find out a little bit more tonight, Stephanie. I mean, they're off to a 4-1 start, third best start in franchise history. So there's a lot of good feelings and a lot of positive momentum with Ryan Saunders, new coach, with Gerson Rosas, and the new front office. But they do not have Karl-Anthony Towns tonight, and the one really good team they have played this year, Philadelphia, has been their one loss, and they lost by 22. They play Milwaukee tonight, another Eastern Conference contender. They do not have Karl-Anthony Towns, so it's going to be a test. But I do think that the team in general feels like they are headed in the right direction after 3 difficult seasons under Tom Thibodeau.
John, my question is, without Karl-Anthony Towns, next in line to be that guy that you zero in is Anthony Wiggins, and we've all been waiting for Wiggins to take the next step. Can you assess, I know it's early, but where Wiggins is now and how he's handling this without Karl-Anthony Towns being in the lineup?
Yeah, Steve, there's been a lot of positive developments with Wiggins early on, still very early, but against Washington on Saturday when Towns was not in the lineup as well, he did a great job of facilitating, running the pick and roll, getting open shots for teammates, adding assists and rebounds into his scoring, which he had not done for much of his career. Then he also was big time at the end of the Brooklyn win and at the end of the Miami win in terms of coming up in clutch situations, hitting big shots and getting to the basket. So there has been some really encouraging signs from Andrew Wiggins, but again, he is a player who has flashed these stretches before in his career and then has kind of fallen back to the pack again. So a lot of people are really waiting to see him sustain that over a more extended period of time before they're ready to say that Wiggins has turned some sort of a corner here.
Very few people had the Timberwolves making the playoffs in the West. You know, obviously log jammed at the top with teams like the Clippers and the Lakers vying for that number 1 position. What has Ryan Saunders done this offseason to make sure that his team is focused and has their eyes set on making that playoff position?
Yeah, Candace, it's been all about culture, and that's what the word that has been kind of thrown around here a lot lately and really all summer long. This was a fractured locker room, a fractured team over the previous 3 seasons. A lot of personality conflicts, a lot of tension that was in the building, and Ryan has helped to come in and really bring some fresh air into the operation, and he has these guys all playing together and unified, both offensively and defensively. They're moving the ball a lot more, so everyone feels invested and feels like they're going to get their shots and their touches on the offensive end. On the defensive end, they're playing a little bit more connected and together, and really just Ryan has done a good job of emphasizing chemistry, of emphasizing cohesion and communication. He's making these players feel like they're invested in what this team is doing because he gives them a say in what they're going to do on a nightly basis. And so everyone really seems to have bought into that philosophy, and they feel like one team for the first time in a long time. And then you add to it, Candace, that they've won 4 of their first 5. Now what Ryan is teaching and preaching, they're getting some positive reinforcement on that. So I think that has really helped him as well to assert himself as the youngest head coach in the league.
Excellent. John, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We have a lot to look forward to as we continue to follow this Minnesota team.
Thanks, guys.
The warm-up continues. Isaiah Thomas for the Washington Wizards will be getting his first start tonight since 2018 March. Those are the right numbers. Looking good, IT. Those assists coming in. Warm-up continues. Look inside the Chase Center. Portland Trailblazers are in town to take on the Warriors. Unfortunately for the Warriors, they have yet to christen the Chase Center with a win, hoping that it may happen tonight. It's time now for our fantasy forecast, and as you can see, Our guy, Tim Doyle, is in the building. Tim, thank you so much for being here tonight. We got some good questions for you as it relates to fantasy basketball. We're going to start off first with the Rockets. How are you treating them tonight versus the Grizzlies coming off of that 29-point loss to the Heat?
You know, Stephanie, the first time I checked the score in the game, it was 62-28. And it's one of those where you go, wait, what's the score? They were getting manhandled by the Heat. And, hey, team's been known to go out in Miami sometimes. Now, no Russell Westbrook tonight. I expect James Harden to go out there and take a lot of shots. Now, he's still leading the NBA in scoring over 35 points a game, but he has struggled shooting the ball. 37% from the field, only 22% from three, and he's throwing the ball all over the place, nearly 6 turnovers a game. But with no Westbrook, you're going to see the Harden we've seen in years past. And the pace of this game is going to have me stack a game like this. So not only am I going to use James Harden, I'm going to use Ja Morant. Now, no Jaren Jackson, so Ja's going to get ultra-high usage numbers in this game. He's been out of this world at home, averaging over 27 points a game, 8 assists. And with any rookie point guard, you're going to struggle with turnovers. So if he takes better care of the basketball, I think his numbers are going to be through the roof. So Harden, Ja Morant, must use for tonight.
All right, and are you suggesting that the Rockets were suffering from the South Beach flu, Tim?
That was my first thought, because I thought the score was wrong when I saw it.
I was with you on that one. I was with you. All right, you talked about players being out and usage of others going up. Let's go to Detroit. No Derrick Rose tonight for the Pistons. Whose numbers do you expect to take a big jump?
Well, I've loved Andre Drummond since day one. Every time you check his stats, he's having like 20 blocks, steals. He's all over the place. But with no D Rose, now Luke Kennard's really going to come into his own. Here's a guy who's always been able to score the basketball. He scored nearly 3 Gs in high school. He scored more high school points than LeBron James, but I think he's still finding his way in the NBA. He's coming off an impressive performance, 24 points against the Nets, and also he's going up against the Wizards. The Wizards cannot guard a chair. They don't play any defense. They have given up 290 points the last 2 games. So this is just a matchup here. This is a game I expect to be high volume possession-wise. I expect it to be a high-scoring game. And I think Kennard's going to be a huge benefactor of both those.
My goodness, moving on to the Phoenix Suns, one of the surprise teams early on in this NBA season. Who do you think has stood out for the Suns fantasy-wise?
I mean, you could just throw a dart here, and it's correct, right? Is it Ricky Rubio? Well, I think we expected Rubio to perform at a high level because he really came into his own in Utah. But I'll give you 3 different guys that have really stepped up, starting off with Aaron Baines. Who knew Aaron Baines could make threes? I just thought he was like a character from Game of Thrones, but he's more than that. He's physical, he's grabbing rebounds, he's dropping 3.5 assists a game, he's blocking shots. He's been outstanding. Oubre has really found a place. He's averaging 18 points a game, 6 rebounds, steals, blocks. He's all over the board. And then Frank the Tank. He's actually struggling from 3, only 20%, but he's giving you double digits in points. He's rebounding the basketball. Right now, the Suns lead the entire NBA in assist percentage, meaning they're sharing the basketball. So it's not just Devin Booker going one-on-one, and that's what we've watched in years past. Even he's sharing the basketball. So Suns have been, I think, the most intriguing story in the entire NBA. You could argue it's the Suns or Kendrick Nunn. Nobody expected these 2 things to happen, but that's why we watch every single night. And except for 2 points, the Suns could be looking at an undefeated record, so don't sleep on the guys in the desert.
That is crazy. Shout out to Monty Williams for changing the culture there so soon in Phoenix. All right. To the Warriors. With Klay out and now Steph Curry expected to miss about 3 months, can you still find value with the Warriors?
Probably not in their ticket prices, but we just showed an empty arena. Like, someone will be showing up to that arena tonight, and they're going to see guys that they go, who? Well, I'm going to tell you who they are, because someone's going to have to score for the Warriors. Like, they're still going to score 90, 100 points a game. Let me lay out 3 names for you, beginning with Damian Lee. He's not been shy since he's entered the NBA. He could score in bunches, actually shooting a higher percentage this year, lightning quick. And, hey, Steve Kerr has to look down his bench and be like, all right, someone's got to get buckets. I think Lee's probably the best scorer of the group. Next, let's go to Eric Paschall. He's a 2nd-round pick out of Villanova, and he played outstanding last out. 25 points against Charlotte. He's more of a stretch type of forward, great body, obviously been around the block, had great success in college. So So stepping up to the next level hasn't been that big of an adjustment. And lastly, Glenn Robinson III. He's actually doubling his point total for his career. Well, he's doubling his minutes total. So the usage for all three of these guys is going to be up. They're going to be on the floor a lot. The Warriors are not going to win a lot of games, and they shouldn't. This should be a year that they retreat back, get healthy, get some high draft picks, kind of move forward for the future. But as far as showing up to those games, you're going to look at that roster and go, who are these guys again?
All right, it's that time of the evening, Tim. It's time for Doyle's daily starting lineup. What you got?
Yeah, Andre Drummond's must start. He's the drool emoji for fantasy users every night. He's just 20-20, rebounds, blocking shots. Talked about Harden and Morant. Those guys going to have big nights. Karis LeVert, that's a game I expect to go up and down. Him and Prince, they're going to be in a high-possession, high-volume game. Kennard and Kaminsky, I talked about. Ilyasova, I hope I get the hot Ilyasova. The cold Ilyasova is like 2 rebounds and 2 assists. But when he gets a bucket in the first half, that usually translates to success. And I root for Isaiah Thomas. I mean, how could you not? He's having a rebirth there in Washington. That's a Wizards-Pistons game. It's going to be high scoring. I think it's going to be high volume. And I think there's going to be a ton of high-scoring games tonight, Stephanie, across the board. Doesn't anybody play defense anymore? I guess we can't ask Steve Smith. He wasn't much of a defender, was he?
I am not going to condone that. He's not here to defend himself. I am going to stand by Steve and by Candace no matter what anybody says. Both excellent defenders. All right, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
You got it, Stephanie.
All right, the warm-up will be back on the other side of this break. There's a look at Andrew Wiggins warming up for the Timberwolves. Are they the real deal? Looking to prove it tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks.